Beyblade X has taken the sport to an entirely new level, from in-depth combo building and balance tuning to unique launch techniques that could make or break your matchups. The Beyblade meta has evolved in so many ways over the last couple of years, with a broad fan base doing what they can to raise the level of competition even further. I got to see this expertise firsthand at BayCon 2025, and I cannot begin to describe just how much I learned. So today, we'll be going over just some of the bays that are conquering the world. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I really want to hit 390,000 subscribers, and most of the bays we're talking about in this video are available at sponsor of the channel, Mall of Toys. Mall of Toys is one of the best places for building up your Beyblade collections, whether it's buying bays you may have skipped out on, or pre-ordering the latest releases like that upcoming Clock Mirage Random Booster Select. So definitely go and check them out, link in the description down below, and make sure to use code ilinnuc to get 5% off. While Beyblade is all about customization to your individual strategies and playstyles, there are definitely popular builds that have broken through the mold and established themselves as juggernauts not to be taken lightly. The first of which is the current meta king, but maybe not for much longer. To explain it best, here's friend of the channel and newcomer creator of the year, Anti-Wizard Wizard Club.
Hey guys, this is Ryan from Anti-Wizard Wizard Club here. Thank you so much for having me on the channel, ilinnuc. And today I want to talk to y'all about the competitive combos that are conquering the world of Beyblade X, starting with a fan favorite, Cobalt Dragoon 560 Elevate. So starting with Cobalt Dragoon 560 Elevate, this is the current King of the Hill, ranked #1 in our spreadsheet, which is linked down below, by the way. In the dataset we ran from June to August, Dragoon on 560 Elevate sits at rank 1 with 268 points, not changing ranks at all from July. You see, the win condition behind Cobalt Dragoon on Elevate is to spin steal or equalize versus your opponent, because most of the time you're only going to be playing against right spin blades, because there's pretty much no other competitive blade in the Beyblade X meta besides Cobalt Dragoon that spins left. But its win condition, spin stealing, equalizing with the opponent, and then winning by spin finish just barely thanks to that Elevate bit, it does it extremely well and extremely consistently. But there is a catch.
Cobalt used to be an anchor in my competitive deck when Rod Ball was the most annoying combo in the game, and as Wizard Club mentioned, it's one of the only left spin bays in the entire generation, making it pretty much the only option for reverse spin equalization. Elevate is a massive weak point here with its poor burst resistance, and I stopped using this combo entirely because it felt like too risky of a play with today's most major attackers hitting the scene rather recently. In fact, these attackers are doing so well that Wizard Rod on Ball has dipped dramatically in usage, but that doesn't mean Rod is gone completely. Wizard has taken a new direction that sacrifices stamina, but converts its strengths to defense. Wizard Rod on 160 Hexa is now the tank bay to beat.
Wizard Rod on 160 Hexa has quickly become the safest, most consistent point earner for the most competitive Beyblade X players. In the June through August data, this combo ranks #3 with 188 points, improving its rank from July to August.
Rod on Hexa is a combo I used consistently throughout my time at BayCon, mainly to add a bit of stability to my otherwise more aggressive deck. I will say though, I definitely did not feel nearly as confident as I would have with Rod on Ball just several months ago. There was quite a few instances where, because I either mislaunched or got unlucky or a mixture of both, where my Rod just self-finished or worse. Pause.
Now, the elephant in the room is that Wizard Rod used to be almost exclusively used on 960 Ball, and in recent months, that's been changing. So I want you to know why. Wizard Rod's identity of being able to outspin anything you throw at it is heavily dependent on the ball bit staying in place and the blade itself not getting pocketed. And these are two things that Wizard Rod 160 Hexa really patches up with this blade.
I always felt nervous mid-battle because Hexa can really rip on the extreme line, but its durability was really impressive, and it won me a ton of close matchups. My biggest issue is most of the time it'll win via spin finish, giving you a single point, but it could also eject itself, losing you 2 or 3 points.
In short, Wizard Rod on 160 Hexa continues to grow not only in popularity, but raw competitive success. From June, July, August, and beyond, I don't think we're gonna see this combo going anywhere.
So far, we've gone over 2 defense-oriented builds, both of which being at the top of their game. However, over the last several months, we've had some fantastic bays released that have shifted the meta towards attack in a way we haven't seen since the launch of Phoenix Wing in 2023. Hover Wyvern on 960 kick is a build that I've been seeing a lot online. But to give credit where credit's due, I personally started using it because of competitive blader Jacob Pomegranate's video on it a few months ago.
Hover Wyvern on 960 kick is kind of the new kid on the block. It comes in at rank 14 on our datasheet from June through August, getting 33 competitive points in that time period. But you cannot ignore its momentum. It went up 10 ranks from July to August. And if you ask me, that trend is going to continue as more players get their hands on the Hover Wyvern blade. Not only through more players purchasing the pretty expensive deck set that it comes in, rather stadium set, but also with the new release of the different colorway of Hover Wyvern in Japan via Takara Tomy.
The shape of Hover's blade is ideal for smash attacks that deliver an incredible amount of power behind the punch. The weight of around 35 grams isn't anywhere near the top end for attack builds, but this is a perfect example of shape being king. I brought this combo with me to BayCon, and when it worked, it was unreal. The 960 ratchet gives it a solid amount of stamina and balance while being very protected from burst finishes, so it doesn't end up being a glass cannon.
And while kick is a pretty new bit, it comes in at number 6 in the most competitive bits.
One of this combo's biggest strengths, and also somewhat weaknesses, is kick. Now, just to explain, kick is incredible, but it's also kinda hard to use well. Originally released with Hell's Reaper towards the beginning of the CX line in 2025, kick is an attack-leaning, balance-type bit where skill is extremely important. This is something I didn't factor in nearly enough during my preparation for BayCon, and that lack of preparation could not have been more obvious because Hover ended up being complete garbage for me day one. It seemed to just rip around the stadium, land a major hit or two, and then just fall asleep. This was absolutely a skill issue. I did a ton of launching practice with some guys at the event, and I'll admit, I basically did everything wrong. You don't want to stall for too long, and you also don't want it to waste stamina and rip around the stadium. What ended up helping me was practicing drop shots, or drop slide shots. Not the one from Call of Duty, but the technique that pushes your bay to the apex of the extreme rail. To many of you, this will be obvious information, but with kick, it feels like more of a requirement versus just a good strategy. I still have a lot to learn, but there's tons of launching technique videos on YouTube to help develop your own skill. I love this combo, and while I'm still not even close to mastering it, I can see why it's quickly rising up the competitive ranks.
I think the only reason Hover Wyvern, especially on 960 kick, isn't more popular and competitive than it is right now is purely due to availability. Phoenix Wing has been around for more than a year, and Hover Wyvern only recently came out. And when it was released, it's in a stadium set. And yes, there's a new release coming out in Japan via Takara Tomy, but it's still going to take more time for Hover Wyvern to be as available as Phoenix Wing is today. Overall, you really can't go wrong choosing Hover Wyvern on 960 Kick as your core attacking anchor in your competitive Beyblade X deck.
During BayCon, the attack type that was more popular than Hover Wyvern was Shark Scale, and I'd even venture to say it was one of the most popular silhouettes used for the entire event. Shark's shape is slightly less extreme than Hover, but it may be the ultimate ratchet blaster. I saw a ton of people using this and even using just its stock configuration sometimes. And here's Baytuber AJ Supercharged on his competitive deck featuring Shark Scale.
Hello everyone, I'm AJ and my YouTube channel is Supercharged and I'm here at BayCon for my first ever Beyblade X tournament. I've never been to a live Beyblade tournament before, so this has been quite the experience. So I have my deck that I'm participating with. So for my first Bay, the strengths, this thing demolishes everything. It can beat everything. It can also kind of lose to everything. Level is kind of, as you could say, let's just say it's a little extroverted and it would self-destruct a lot. Hardest hitting attack type in the game. I would say this is the best blade in Beyblade X right now. Yeah, that's right. Take that, Wizard Rod.
360 level was pretty popular, but not the only successful scale I saw. Another competitor who made it pretty deep into the tournament had a bit of a different setup.
Hey, what's up guys? My name is Baybreaker. Going into it, we have Shark Scale on 450 Kick. I know a lot of people aren't really running Kick, they're running Low Rush, but Kick gives an extra boost of stamina, and I usually win the mirror match almost every time. That being said, I still feel pretty good about my placing, and I'm going to be learning from it.
Shark Scale is the newest Bay in this video, releasing August 9th in Japan, but shipping speeds and shipping delays means many people have had this Bay for less than a month, so I'm very interested to see just how it continues to develop. This entire video is discussing the current meta kings of Beyblade X, but there's one thing to remember.
Data is a compass. It is not your pilot. The leaderboards tell us what's working overall and what's having the strongest average performance, but it cannot account for you as an individual blader or your local meta.
At the end of the day, your individual preferences and also your competition should be what determines what bays you use. For example, according to the data, Cobalt Dragoon on Elevate should seem like a must-have in your deck, right? Well, that may be the case for some people, but it's not a combination I feel particularly confident with, so I decided to not use it. Its usage at BayCon was also surprisingly low, and I think that's because of releases like Hover Wyvern and Shark Scale being great counters because of Elevate's low burst resistance. And just because a part isn't at the top of the metagame doesn't mean it's useless, and BayCon is a perfect example of that. Let me start off by saying how great of an experience BayCon was. It was split up into 3 days with 2 major X tournaments, a creator tournament that allowed custom bays, and even a metal fight tournament for all you old heads out there. I don't even want to get into how badly I did at the beginning. I'll blame it on the long drive just to save my ego, but really, I was just unprepared. I even lost to a 9-year-old using a Hell's Hammer combo, which I'm not upset about at all. He was just better. Day 3 was a lot more competitive. I was using Hover, Rod, and Valkyrie Blast / 760 Low Rush, which is a combo I didn't talk about in this video because I didn't see it used too many times, but I will absolutely come back to it because, I mean, it's Valkyrie, come on. I did pretty well in the Swiss rounds, going 4-1 before heading into group stages, and then my blast blasted itself against a golem, so there's that. The finals were intense though. We had Mimsky versus Darkwolf, the one who beat me with Golem, and the battles were so entertaining, and Mim was a beast with Valkyrie Blast.
What's up, y'all? I'm Team S Beyblade. I'm here with
the Nook,
and I am a finalist at Baycon Nationals, 18 states. But the deck I've been running all the way through was Wizard Rod, Aero Pegasus, and Blast Valkyrie. We have the tank with Wall, 360, and Low Rush. But you know what? If I win Baycon, that'd be amazing. Second place, that's also amazing.
In fact, Mim was a Beyblade legend for the entire weekend, winning first place in the 100-person tournament on day 2 and getting third in the wrap-up event at the end of day 3. The battle for first place was on, featuring Taze from the DFW Texas community and Baybreaker from Oklahoma. The battles were intense. Taze took an early lead with a pretty unique deck, but Breaker pulled it back with Shark and Aero Pegasus, and also nailed the most perfect slide drop launch I saw at the entire convention. The score was 5-6, still anyone's game, and so the Bladers prepared. Taze with Night Mail, and Breaker with Rod only needing one more point to win the tournament. Both launched with their full power and technique behind them, the Beys flying into the arena. But, as the prophecy foretold, I always felt nervous mid-battle because Hexa can really rip on the extreme line. Rod took an unfortunate extreme line ride and Mail struck it right in the ratchet, resulting in a burst finish. Taze wins.
With that being said, thanks so much, ilinnuc, for having me on the channel. Let's go ahead and turn it to some of the winners from the 2025 Baycon tournament, seeing what they chose for their decks and understanding why they chose something that may not be quite as present in the top of the datasheet as we might expect.
What's up, guys? My name is Taze. I'm from DFW, and I just won the end of the Baycon ceremony tournament. Still unreal, man, because I did not expect to win this. Yeah, I'm nervous as heck, still so unreal. Shout out to TMS for, having one of the best, events all year that I've ever been to. It's been the greatest. I've had a blast. I met creators big like Nuck, all these guys, Left Spin. I met the owner of Newsel that I didn't expect to, meet. So what I got right here, Drum Buster, 160 Low Rush, Aero Pegasus, 960 Kick, and Night Mail, 360 Low Flat. And honestly, all 3 bays, I don't have much of a favorite. I will say throughout all my time playing competitive Beyblade, Drum Buster has definitely been my ace. I've practiced, I've cooked, and yeah, Drum Buster has definitely been my go.
In summary, while we saw a lot of meta builds, with several of them being seen often in the final rounds, the winning Beyblade was Night Mail. The Bay that took me out of the tournament was Golem, and Aero Pegasus, okay, that Bay is basically pay to win, alright? It's still rocking everything a year after release. Hopefully that simple recolor comes soon. I was also a bit surprised to see the amount of Night Mails and also Tyranno Beats that filled out the winning decks.
What's up, everyone? My name's NickFlix, also known as Nick. I'm on TikTok mostly, and I make a lot of goofy Beyblade videos, but today, I decided to step into the competitive field, and I got second place at the Baycon National Tournament. I'm in awe right now, and let's just go over the deck I used to get this W, man. So here's my deck. I went really aggro, so 2 attackers and 1 more of a balance. We'll start with the balance. I did Night Mail on 960 point. This is kind of my safety Beyblade. Honestly, this is my make or break Beyblade. Whenever I'm a little behind, I put in Night Mail to climb a little bit of points, usually get a spin finish or maybe even an over with him. And when that happens, I know I can clean up with Tyranno Beat or the Shark. Yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you so much to everyone that put on Baycon. This has been honestly one of the most memorable experiences of my life, so thank you.
What's up, y'all? My name's Montati, and I placed 3rd at TMS's Baycon down in Corpus Christi, Texas. What I use for my deck is Tyranno Beat 180 Rush, Shark Scale 450 Low Rush, and Aero Pegasus 160 Kick. MVP was definitely Pegasus, but I did not expect to win as much with Tyranno Beat. People are always hating on 80 height ratchets. This thing hits like a freight train. It actually like did better than I thought it was going to. So I'm really impressed with its performance. Obviously these two are just like super good. So yeah, Tyranno Bee really surprised me though. Helped me get third. So really happy with that.
I still think it's really important to see how the meta is shaping, which is one of the reasons why Anti-Wizard Wizard Club's monthly meta wrap-ups are some of the most valuable Beyblade videos to watch. We should all keep up with what bays are rising and falling, the direction the hobby is going, and using that information to better develop your own strategy. I wouldn't just take the combos from this video, or the combos taken from BayCon and run with them just because. But definitely test with and against them, while putting most of your energy practicing into your launch technique. That advice would have helped me a ton while I was preparing for BayCon. Big shout out to everyone at BayCon, all the people I met and battled, and let me know which of your combos could be the next world-conquering Beyblade. Thanks for watching this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Have fun, and Bay away.